Okay, go ahead.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm. You better start.
Y'all making me nervous.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Close your
Hey,
eyes.
what's going?
Sorry, I didn't know. I was telling them to close their eyes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Fine. Hey, what's going on, family? It's your boy Barry Darius.
And I'm Esther Darius.
And this is B&E's House,
where we establish fun, fulfillment, and foundation in your life and marriage. And today, what are we talking about, babe?
So today, we're going to talk about preferences. And does your preference prevent you from getting a good one?
All right.
Yep.
All right. So it's between what is the difference between preference and standards, and just trying to see the difference between how those coincide with one another, correct?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
So if you like this subject and you want to learn more, we ask that you join our B&E House family. So we ask that you please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell so you can be notified for everything B&E House related. Let's get started.
Yep.
All right. So we wanted to first dive in today to ask you guys and one another, what is the difference between a preference and a standard? You want to go first?
Sure. So let's go ahead and kind of distinguish, preference and standard. So before we start, standard is basically the general characteristic and measurement, right, for your core values, personality, and character. And then preferences are basically just kind of like a personal thing that you like. Essentially, like a standard is basically what you can't overlook, right? It's basically that foundational thing that you're looking for in someone. And then preferences are basically things that are just personal preferences that you can kind of overlook, but you're not necessarily measuring somebody by.
Got it. So for today's episode, it was so important for us to not just get our opinions, but we wanted to get the opinions of others. So we invited some of our good friends who we are about to pick their brains to find out, is their preference keeping them from a good one? So please help us introduce and welcome first Darlene Blanc.
Hey, what's going on?
I see you, girl. And then also we have our great friend who's also along with her, Mr. Obed Lewis. So thank you guys so much for coming onto our YouTube channel. This is so important for us to really help the singles out there to be heard. So we want to hear from you. Is that happening to you? Is your preference keeping you from the good one? So we're going to ask you guys a series of questions, and we'd love to get your opinion.
But before we start though, let's kind of give examples of like our standards and our preferences, right? Like I know for me, standards of mine.
Oh, that's good. I didn't think about that.
Before we, got married, my standards was, number one, I needed a woman to be a woman of God. And not just somebody who attends church, but somebody who actually has a prayer life. Right. Number two, I wanted someone who had a good character. Right. Basically, someone who has good integrity, good morals, a good personality, someone that I could be, enjoy myself around. And they also have good social skills around other people.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. That's good. That's good.
And as far as like preferences, my preferences was I needed my woman to be able to know how to cook, okay? Just like I know she would want me to be able to know how to fix things or kill whatever bugs that's around the house, I can be that for her. Another one of my personal preferences, I like to dance. So I would have wanted her to like have some sort of rhythm. Like she don't gotta be, Beyonce, but she gotta have some sort of rhythm. You know what I mean? Like you can't be stiff. You know what I'm saying? Another one of my preferences, I guess you could say long hair. But that was just a preference. That was just a preference, though. You know, I understand out here we got weaves, extensions, and all that. You know what I mean? That was just it wasn't keeping me, though, from a good one. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and also is someone with similar cultural background.
Okay, so I had to write mines down. That was good. That was good.
Okay.
I'm glad I met some of those. So for me, my standard, I'll go with that first, since it has to do with the characteristics, is that I didn't want someone who smoked. That was like, sorry,
True.
I'm not with it.
True.
I definitely wanted a man of God, not just someone who's playing Christian. I don't even want that play. I wanted a real man of God.
There it is.
I wanted someone who knew what they wanted out of life. We ain't got time to kind of figure it out together. I want you to know what you're doing.
Yeah, what we doing?
I didn't want someone who cussed like a sailor, because myself, I didn't grow up cussing, so I didn't want the person to be doing the same. Someone with a great sense of humor. I know some people will probably say that should not be a standard, but I cannot be with someone who's stiff, boring, and who just can't have fun. And I'm sorry to say this, but I didn't want someone who had a large past, you know, if their list was kind of long.
Well, your standard's kind of high.
No, it's only because I know me, and it would be hard for me not to see you and your past. Like, it would be hard for me. I know me.
Okay.
It wasn't about them. It was me, okay? And then my preference is someone who had the same cultural background, who was tall, had muscles, had a nice car, and had a brush cut.
Oh, okay. So we know dress was out of there. All right.
It was.
Well, I'm glad I met those. I'm truly happy that I met that long measurement of standards that you had. So let's go ahead.
I am who I am.
And let's converse with our guests and ask them, this topic right here.
Okay.
So first question we want to ask you guys is, do you think it's fair for people to have preferences? Let's start with...
Anyone could go first.
Obed, you first. Actually, no. Darlene, women first. Ladies go first.
I actually do think that it's fair. However, it's something like you like to have in a partner. And that ultimately will change, or it can change. These preferences can change.
Correct.
As you realize they don't matter as much. So I think that we have to be very careful about our preferences, but also narrow them down and figure out what's true for you. You know, so that's like, it's not a specific answer, but I do believe that it is fair, but to the degree that you're constantly evaluating what is true for you.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a really good response, because I think at the end of the day, people just kind of have to realize, well, for me, this is what I kind of need, But like you said, also, it's things that could probably change over time, so you don't want to make it like concrete, So Obed, what about you, sir?
For me personally, I do believe that it's fair for people to have preferences. We come in different shapes, sizes, hues. Like, everyone's unique. So what might work for me might not work for someone else. So I definitely believe it's fair to have preferences. But where we need to be careful is for both sides, when you are looking for a preference, not to make someone feel less than because they don't have your necessary preference. And also the person, if I don't meet your preferences, I can't take it too personally, because there's going to be someone out there for me.
Come on now. I like that.
That boy preaching. That boy preaching. Okay.
You preaching.
We on the first question. All right. Second question.
Let me get this one.
Go ahead.
What are you guys' individual preferences?
Ooh, let me sit back.
Ooh, no, Obed, you can go first.
Eat my popcorn for this.
All right. Yeah, let us get comfortable.
I'll be 100% transparent. 100% transparent. My preferences did change over time. The older you get, the different experiences and interactions that you make with people that you're trying to date or trying to figure out, it does change. So for me, as it stands right now in 2020, height, she has to be either my height or shorter. Doesn't have to be, but I would prefer.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah. Certain situations we get into, it's just like it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Haitian descent.
Okay.
Haitian descent, definitely. I'm a strong advocate for it. I believe that it's certain cultural references that I make. I don't feel like I don't feel like explaining it to you.
For real.
Like, Lego, legis, like I should be able to those 3 words, and you should be able to understand all for it. Certain things like that, I would prefer. It used to be a preference, but then it changed. It's natural hair. Currently going through my struggles, and I realized that it's it definitely takes time and money. So
it does.
Preference that definitely changed for me. Homebody to a certain extent. I don't necessarily want to be out all the time.
Yep, come on now.
Different events.
Yeah.
Love to travel because I love to travel. Active lifestyle because I'm trying to get back on it.
Come on.
Decent cook. I'm okay, but if she's okay, if she could meet me halfway, then I'm good with that.
You have to have some skill.
Something. Like,
come on, get that gourmet ramen.
It can't just be like microwave.
You can't be eating all the time.
Yeah.
And also for age, for me, it's a 5-year variance. So either 5 years younger or 5 years older than me. I'm okay.
Damn, I didn't even think about that.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right. That's
that was really good. I did like some of those.
Not bad.
I like those.
Now,
all right.
Now, are any of those preferences like your standards, or they're just strictly preferences?
Like, can they be changed at any point? Are you okay with it?
The Haitian descent is making its way up to being a standard. Like, I'm pushing for it.
Okay.
Woo.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's understandable. Having a similar cultural background, that's big.
That's good.
All right, Miss Darlene.
We ready.
What are your preferences?
Or standards?
I thought I had a long list, but really I don't. I think over time my preferences have shortened.
Okay.
And I would say primarily like my preferences would be someone who displays leadership traits. They like guided by a moral compass. They believe in God, and the God of the Bible, the Holy Scripture.
Yeah.
You better let
them
know.
Come on now.
A protector, and a protector, not only in a sense of physical, but just understanding like what provision looks like, that emotional, spiritual, like just being that protector. Yeah. And so, and understanding my cultural differences and cultural references. Now, being Haitian is not something that's like a standard for me. As long as you understand Haitians, you understand how they can be prideful, you can understand how, we like to eat certain types of food, you can eat with me. Like, I'm open to that. So that's not a standard, but my standards really are leadership, guided by the moral compass, believe in God, and you can provide.
Okay.
That's good.
Now, same question to you. Some of those preferences have evolved into standards, or they could,
They've evolved into standards only because I did not understand what leadership looked like for me. I think that oftentimes we're, at least in my case, that I was often influenced by what a leader looked like. And so what one leadership trait in youth, for example, Barry, could be different in Obed, or the person my partner. So I had to really understand and identify, what does a leader really look like to me?
True.
That's good. That's good. All right. So then moving on to the next question, have these preferences evolved over time, or did you have to adjust them? And I guess the secondary question with that would be, what used to be your preferences? Let's go with the first one. Sorry. So have these preferences evolved over time? And you guys did answer. Do you have anything else to say about that, Darlene?
Yeah.
You?
Yes. I just thought of something actually, because Obed mentioned. I'm not sure if it was Obed or you, Esther, about something to the effect of ambition. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, I want to make sure that it's someone who knows where they're going.
Right. So that to me was an ultimate standard for me. And that changed over time, not because I don't want someone who isn't accountable to what they say to their word. But I realized that I was holding them to a certain level of expectation that they could not meet. And so for me, ambition looks like exercising critical thinking, or having those leadership traits, or making sure you keep your word. And if you can't keep your word, right, like acknowledge it, move on, and do your best to change those behaviors. So ambition looks different for me now. And plus, I don't want somebody all around the place, like traveling 3 days out the week. I need my man next to me. Like,
you better let him know.
Like, I'm glad you're an entrepreneur, or whatever it is that you want to be. But to be quite honest with you, like, I really want someone who's close to home.
Yeah.
Now that's real.
I like that. Yeah. Some women are not willing to say that out loud. So that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, go ahead. Sorry.
Just quickly chime in. I went through a season where a preference, actually a standard, devolved into a preference. And it was a bit interesting for me because in regards to being a believer, I was just like, I could meet the person halfway. I could try to work with the person. If off the strength of me going to church and leading by example, that person would hopefully rub off. But it didn't work out. So it quickly went back to being a standard as far as being
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Really good.
Yeah, certain things you just kind of have to think to yourself, like, I can't compromise this here.
Yeah.
Like something else, you could kind of, try to work with, but there's certain things you're just like, I can't be the one to establish that for you. Like you kind of have to come into an understanding of your own, and then from there we can grow with one another,
That's really good.
Yeah. So the next question is, now, did these preferences, old or bad, old or new, did these preferences prevent you from a good one, or maybe sabotage some good relationships?
Go ahead.
Kick it off. Okay. Ooh, that's a good question. For me, in the season that I am in right now, I could strongly say no. Just because with my preferences, kind of going through the years, I've really trimmed the fat. And with my standards, not my standards, but my preferences, they're more so internal than external. So these are things that I'm not looking at really physical features and things like that. It's like things that I know would enhance the relationship that I'm in, that would truly allow me to continue putting in the work. So I could say no.
That's really good.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
You pretty much took my answer.
So you're saying for you, it helped to kind of trim the field the same way?
Yeah, but more, I think for to be more specific, I don't think my preferences prevented me from a good one, but I think that brokenness or trauma would prevent me from a good one. And those things would distort what those preferences would look like over time. So that is what I would say. Like, no, it didn't prevent me from a good one, but the brokenness probably overshadowed a lot of how I viewed someone and how it altered my expectations.
Okay.
That's good.
No, that's really good.
Yeah,
and
I
I
didn't
think
even think about that.
That's a big one too, as far as like expectations, is expecting someone to be able to meet certain preferences right then and there. It's one thing if like they meet the standards, right? They meet the general standards. And then now as far as preferences, first of all, there has to be communication.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, sometimes our personal preferences can be communicated. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know that. And that could also help to kind of trim the field, because now if they're willing to kind of help towards, a certain compromise and, preferences, then now you can say, okay, well, this person is actually in it for real.
Yeah.
And not for what you say, play.
For me, I think when it comes to the expectations, I feel as if what you guys are saying is right. We should have communicated early on what is it that I expected? You know what I mean? And Obed said it himself, where he expected that person to meet a preference, and he thought that he could hold the brunt of the work and the weight of it. But the fact of the matter is that we're expecting them to do something that they've never even said that they wanted to do, and where they never communicated that was me. Like, I did not meet that need. And sometimes I think we put ourselves in a position where we're trying to get people to meet a need and expect them to be part of that standard that we never either communicated or we assume will change over time. Yeah. And sometimes we have to be willing to realize that who we have today may be the very person I continue to have. Right. So if that person never changed, can I live with that? Mm-hmm. So we have to think about that. Now, granted, and as you grow with someone, they should be evolving, but that is something you have to think about. Yeah. Are they going to change?
Yeah. That's another point. That's the point, Esther.
I don't know.
She preached.
And Darlene brought up a great point as well, as far as like being careful of like the distorting your preferences depending on the season that you're going through. Yeah. Because it's important. Like, you'll be looking for something, trying to recover, and you know they say hurt people. So you get fresh off of a situation. Yes. And it's like, okay, my preference is to be everything opposite of what my past relationship was. Yeah. Then you find out that in this relationship, in a new relationship, it's opposite, but it's other things that I'm looking for. So you gotta be mindful.
Yeah. So a rebound is real. That rebound phase is real.
And know you. I'm glad that if one thing I'm getting from Obed is knowing you, know where you are at this time, know where you're going. Like, he realized that who he is today is not who he was when he was younger. Yeah. So he's very aware of himself. Yeah. So that's a question we got to ask you guys. Are you aware of who you are and what it is that you're looking for? That's a question.
Good. That's good. So that's good. So next question. So do you think people's preferences can potentially keep them from a potential spouse? Now, you guys have kind of already iterated, like, you know, the seasons that you were in and kind of filtering out the field. But do you think that in general cases, people's preferences are preventing them from a good one?
Let me take a stab at that. Okay. I don't believe 100% that their preferences is keeping them away from a potential spouse. I think that the person who is for you and the person that chooses you would also choose to evolve with you and to work with you through like all of the different layers or areas in which you are working on within yourself as an individual. So I don't think it would keep someone from a potential spouse, but what I do believe is that if you don't continue to evolve in your preferences and how you view your not only yourself, your beliefs, what you're influenced by, you can easily be the distraction in your relationship. And you could stifle that relationship.
Wow, that's good.
Stifle a relationship in that could be fruitful. And I think that we have to be very careful and aware of who we are as an individual, what we want, and what we want. We don't always know what we want, right? So that's why we're always going through that exploratory process with exploration of and discovery of what we want. So I said a lot there, but I think
that's good. That's good.
It's in there. It's in there. Yeah. Good. Right. I like that answer. Obed?
No, it's really good. No, one thing Darlene hit on is evolution. If you don't evolve, or if your preferences don't evolve as you get older, it can limit you. Because I know for me, personally speaking, at a certain age, I was, looking more physical. Yeah. We gotta be this, we gotta be this, we gotta be this. And if it didn't evolve, then I would have definitely lost out on some situations. Not to say I found a situation now, but I would have, it would have been more difficult for me to potentially run into my wife. So.
That's true. And I want to say something. For me personally, when I was single and before meeting Barry, I think one thing that Barry said earlier is that we have to be willing not to compromise. Yeah, I know it's hard being a single, and I know it's hard for you to be like, you want to be flexible. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes you really looking for love and you're looking for companionship that you're willing to be flexible. But I really do believe that these standards are first these things that we should never compromise on. And then the preferences that we have are things we need to evolve through, you know? And I know Barry likes to always, he likes to always get on me because of this one preference. Mm-hmm. There's one preference. We had a whole argument.
What it is?
Because I did not like men with dreads, though I did get with Barry when he had dreads.
I had dreads once upon a time.
But I'm going to tell you guys, because so this is how we got into this whole preference thing. He was like, okay, but I had this, I had that, I had this, I had that. And, you know, look at the relationship we have. What if you didn't choose me because of this one thing that you did not prefer? And to me, I just said, okay, I would never have known what I lost. I just thought that this is not what I was attracted to. You know what I mean? But the one thing I didn't do in our relationship when I did get with him, I told myself I was not going to allow the dreads to keep me from a good one. Okay, I want you to get that part. No. I still got with you. Okay, it's just I told myself I can't make this man change this thing.
But see, she missed out one detail though. She still got with me because she met me when I had the fade. So my question was, if you never met me with the fade and you met me with the dreads, you know, how would that scenario turn out?
But my thing is the fact that I evolved and I was mature enough to say yes to this relationship, even though everything in me is like, I don't like this. I feel like I was good. I feel like I did a good thing, right?
Again, you met me with the fade. So in your mind, you're thinking, you know what? He might cut it again. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead.
It was a small preference, guys. It was a small preference.
And that's why.
But here's the thing. Did I ever ask you to cut it?
No, you did not.
Boom. Ain't that evolution?
But she did say, when we get married, I don't know if I want you to have those dreads at the altar.
And this is why the communication is so important. I communicated finally saying that I'm not going to be a girlfriend telling you what to do. That's one. And two, I was just being honest that, hey, if we get married, I cannot honestly say that this is something I would like. But I do know that I would never try to jeopardize a potential relationship to being your spouse for some hair. I'm just letting you know that was y'all heard my preference. I just said I went
just to be clear. Now, just to be clear, I did not cut my hair so that we could get married. I cut my hair because the managing, like Obed said, with the natural hair, it got irritating. It got annoying, so I just cut it all together. So, but yeah, I just wanted to ask these questions because a lot of people literally are so, such a stickler to the preferences, not even the standards, the preferences, and literally like if that person, does not know how to fix stuff or does not know how to cook or has long hair or short hair, or don't have that dark chocolate skin that you're looking for or the light skin that you're looking for. They got everything else, but those preferences, that's keeping them from what could potentially be a good one.
I do have one question, and it just came to me, so I'm sorry. We're talking about preferences, and we gave some great examples, but can we talk real briefly about the preferences that we have for attraction? Because right now, Obed and Darlene gave some great examples about how they evolved, how they change, how, they see it differently. So now, can you answer this? Is the preferences or the standards you have, is that the basis of your attraction for these people?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I hit you with a curveball. I really want to know because we talked about a lot of things, but I didn't get to hear yet from anyone the word attraction.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who believe, while you guys are thinking, there's a lot of people who believe that attraction can grow. You may not fully be attracted to someone like initially, but when it comes to getting to know them and connecting with them, you start to realize, well, the preferences that you may have had, you can kind of overlook. Like, for example, if I wanted somebody with long hair, and I mean somebody who
I know I ain't got
who
it.
got well, but your hair is longer than mine though. That was at least the minimum. You gotta have at least hair longer than mine. But it's like, do these preferences are something that you can kind of overlook once you start to actually connect with the person, the chemistry starts to grow, and you start to see, wow, this is a person who's not only a good person on the outside, attractive physically, but internally you have that attraction. So do you think, like my wife said, like preferences physically could be something for people to actually think about?
Cool. I'll take a stab at it. In regards to me, as far as attractiveness, I can comfortably say definitely a nice smile, something to draw me in. And also one thing I really look out for, because I'm an observant person. So when I go into a crowd of people or I'm going to a situation, I'm kind of in the back. So if I peep somebody else is doing that too, that definitely draws me in, because I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like being all over the place. So if I see somebody kind of off in the cut, doing their own thing, that draws me in. So
there you go.
Okay.
Because Obed like to make his moves in the cut. You're like, hey, I'm not trying to go in the crowd to get you. Just come out here, you know what I mean?
Right?
Help me out.
All right, Darlene.
That's well. I mean, everybody want a little eye candy, I'm just saying, but
you gotta be real. You're right.
Everybody want a little eye candy, but I think what really draws me in is confidence, and everything else afterwards can be changed based on our interaction and how we connect.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. No, that's understood. I mean, we had a discussion and I was just like, if I'm attracted to you physically at least a little bit, we could work on that, And I understand people do have, preferences towards physical attraction. That's fine, It's just not making that the first priority into, initiating someone. It's like, oh, they ugly now, but making sure that, hey, do you at least know the person? And so the last question.
One thing I do want to mention,
I
do want to add is I think we also have to continue to evaluate what's attractive, because, when the person is evolving, that is attractive to me. Like, hey, Dave, like, what's up? Like, that is completely attractive. So the evolution process is like, if you are someone who's self-aware and you value evolution of self, you got me.
There you go.
That's good.
It's like, baby, I thought you thought about this. And like, no, I've evolved, baby. I'm thinking something else, baby.
Really?
There you go.
All right. So our final question, just to close all of this out, is there any lessons that you guys have learned through this process of just learning what your standards are, what are your preferences, and just seeing how it changed during, you guys' relationships? Like, what were some lessons?
Towards the whole evolving process. And even the people that you have met, that's kind of helped create those filters.
Yeah. There are some people we meet, it didn't work out, and then it's like, all right, that's standard now.
Yeah. So what are some lessons?
Darling, want to take the first one, or?
No, you can answer. I'm still thinking.
Just kind of going in the lane that Barry kind of hinted towards, for me, is definitely don't settle. Coming from a male's perspective, I've had certain, not principles, but ideologies and certain things that I said I would absolutely not do. But given the right person, given the right situation, given the right safe space, I've been able to do it comfortably. Like,
nice.
I'm one who's struggled with communication, just coming from my background, and not really seeing that in the relationships that I looked up to. So that's something I had to struggle with and kind of grow through. But given the right situation, the right person, I've been an excellent communicator, to the point where I surprised myself. I was like, you know what? I usually get tired of people speaking to them every day, but not too bad. So,
there you go.
Given the right person is definitely manageable, and you don't even feel like it's a task. It's like something you want to do. Also, just don't settle. Don't settle.
Yeah.
And it's coming from just a man's perspective for women. if he ain't, if he not meeting your standards, if he's not doing the work that you want him to do or he needs to do, don't settle. Because us men, and I can speak from personal experience, when it's the right situation and with the right woman, you'll be more than willing to do it.
Yes. I second that 1,000%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's good.
Miss Darlene.
All right. As a woman, it was important for my standard to not shrink like who I am as a woman and as an individual to protect someone's ego. And often that is what causes someone to settle, is because they're not being themselves. They're trying to protect someone's ego and they're not sharing their truth with that individual.
Come on.
For me, that is the standard, is that do not shrink who I am just to appease someone else.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And I think that's very important. And I think that kind of falls into the leadership aspect, especially on the side of men, is men realizing like you're not the dictator in a relationship. You're not the one that's gonna be some sort of a tyranny that's going to condescend on the person that you're dating or marry, but you're actually responsible for cultivating that woman, for building her up, for bringing the best out of her, and that she can be herself around you. You know, my spouse, she all types of personality. She can be goofy, she can be, however she want to be, and I accept her for who she is. And sometimes that's life to me. I think it's a very good point, and I think all women should be able to consider that, and that if as a woman you're not able to be yourself and you're not able to be authentic and you're not growing, that person is not helping you to grow, then you're gonna have to consider some things as to is that the right situation for you
or the right person. I will say this, one of the lessons that I learned, and when I was still trying to date, I guess it was dating, before I even got to the point where I knew that you were the one, I realized, and I'm about to give you a very big compliment, okay?
I'm ready.
I realized that my husband, who was not even my boyfriend at the time, he created a standard. Because when I started talking to other people and they were trying to get with me, there were things that they did that rubbed me all the way wrong. And I realized, like, this is a settlement, man. Like, I kept thinking in my mind, like, well, I know Barry would never do that to me.
I done set the bar.
And then, like I said, we weren't even dating yet.
As a friend.
But as a friend, I realized how much he truly cared for me. And I saw somebody who was trying to get with me, and some of the things that they did, I was like, this whack. Like, he never did that to me. And I found myself comparing them to him because he was able to build a standard that I now knew that anything less than that was something that was going to be a settlement. So I do think,
I'm just go ahead and
props.
Call it real quick.
Props to you.
Brush the dirt off the shoulder.
I will give him his props. I'll let him
There you
take
go.
that. But for real, for
Take
the
it.
women and also for the men, there are some people out there that I know you probably do not see them yet as the one that you can even start a relationship with. But if you strip all that away, and that's why I asked about the attraction, if you strip away these preferences and you start to see them for what it is that they do and how they are with you as a person, can you now be attracted to now the standard that they set as a person for you? And I think that we have to look at that and stop looking at relationships in a way where they have to only meet my needs, you know? And I was so happy that I was able to see the difference. Because sometimes if you don't see the difference, you think what you got is the good one. And I almost did miss out on a good one. I'm not gonna lie, because I was ready to be like, no. But after being around other people, I realized, like, wow, this is what he's doing as a friend. So I think you know, I hope that was a little nugget to help somebody. He was doing that.
What you say, Esther, is that women need to be careful about friend zoning their guy friend.
Girl, that's a whole
Listen.
That's a whole nother
coming
topic.
From a guy's point of view,
that's a whole nother topic.
Y'all got some potential in the friend zone.
Listen,
I'm speaking as a gentleman
come
who's
on.
been friend zone.
Put your hands up if y'all been in them little zones that they ain't got no windows. That it ain't fair, and they trying to keep you locked up, and they tell you're not the one, and they tell you that you're not everything they need you to be. They put you in that zone, and they almost missed out. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm the first person you come to when you're hurt. I'm the first person you come to when you're sad, and you need a word. But it's cool.
Come on, somebody, man, y'all. If I could keep y'all here longer, we could be talking because I got a whole.
That is a whole other topic.
I have a whole episode. That's a whole other topic. We really do. There's a whole episode on girlfriends. We just need to talk about friend zones, man.
Yes.
But guys, I and my husband, we are so happy that you guys came today. This was a very good topic. I learned a lot. And I hope you guys got something out of it. It was amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and I think, and I also want to point out that even though you guys are single, but I think even as married couples, you know, we still have certain preferences that sometimes can kind of help, you know, make things more difficult in the marriage. Yeah. So this is a topic for both single and married people, you know. So
and we got to talk about it, man.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. That's what this channel is for. We want to bring out these discussions, these topics, the friend zone. Come on, brother Obed.
You about to be the first guest on that episode.
Come on now.
We haven't. Well, so all we want to do is encourage you guys and make sure that you join our B&E House family. Continue to subscribe. We hope that you guys got something out of this video. It was so great. Yeah. And I think that's all we have for today, right?
Yep, that's all we have. You know, we just want to continue to encourage you guys, you know, to just kind of don't compromise your standards. Yep. You know, understand yourself to be able to kind of have the preferences that you have, but also understand that with your preferences, you know, don't completely knock a person out, you know, by those preferences, but, you know, understand that there's a level of evolving and there's a process and, you know, getting to know one another. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. So at the end of the day, know your standard, know your preference, and know what you want.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye, guys.